you are on.
All right, so what are we doing today? We are, it's pretty much a catch-up day, but by the end of class, you have an assessment to post your sophomore promises into your digital notebooks, which will turn into your presentations. So I feel like I got ahead of myself a little bit, but you're going to finish up your colored drafts for academic prep. You're going to use your colored drafts to make these add-ons to your mask with 5 or more positive or negative metaphors. So it's anything you want, get creative with what you add on. And we're going to start off talking about the academic prep because we want to make sure that you know what's happening. And then you're explaining on Nearpod what the steps are. And then we'll move on to thinking about the promise and writing our promises. Oh yeah, or junior or senior promise, depending on who you are. So to make sure we know where we are, everyone annotate this, draw it background, circle A, B, C, where are you? Right now, like today, are you going to be working on your annotated colored draft and state your promise with the 5 or more metaphors, or are you going to be doing catch-up work for the rest of the day for academic prep, or are you still working on your thinking maps? And after you circle A, B, or C, go in and circle, you can zoom in and see like week 20 is when we're going to be presenting. So what period are we? When is your presentation? So circle, circle, thank you. Thank you, Jose. B, catching up, you circled the colored drafts and the thinking maps. Also circle when we're presenting. Awesome, Andy. You're all caught up. So building the metaphors. Oh, thank you, Brittany, circled A. And yes, period 7, our promises are on Friday, June 4th.
I want to thank everyone who's engaging quickly. These classes are challenging. We really need you to show today that you understand where you are in the process and the expectations, because so you can motivate yourself to like work tomorrow for a few hours and today, right? Really like chunk out and break down your work, you know? Turn your phones on silent, focus.
Yeah, also everyone, like we want to note, like some people didn't know that we are, oh, awesome, Mr. You are being graded for Nearpod. So right now we have half the class logged in on Nearpod.
Yeah, some students in other classes have informed me that teachers don't really put points in the grade book for Nearpod, but I do. So if you look at the grade book and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many assignments, I do give you a grade every day for Nearpod. I may not input it right away, but I do track it and I eventually input it.
No, please. It's so cute. Yeah, it's only a month away, which seems like a long time, but when you really look at it, like with all the planning and prepping and making the slides, like you're gonna need the time. So thank you, Mr. Jose, Duarte, Jesse, Karen, Brittany, Andy Wilson, Giovanni, Andrea, Gabriel, Anthony Sante, and Letzi. Okay. Have a few more people coming in. Jose's like double prepared. He's logged in twice. So yeah, do what you need, you know? Like if you're afraid you might lose connection, log in on your phone too.
I would say, like, if I were you guys, I would do Nearpod on the phone. And I would also like minimize Zoom, and then I would have your journals out, because we're going to do a lot of cognitive work today. And like, you should be like writing down to-do lists, you know, making a plan. Maybe you add like something onto your colored draft.
Let's see. Just to let you know, this might have just been a mistake. Sometimes ones look like sevens, but we are period 7, so you're presenting that Friday the 4th. It's good to work ahead though. Be done by the 1st, maybe. Maybe that's what you meant. Okay, I'm gonna go on to the next slide. So we're not answering this question on Nearpod, but just to review, like, an annotated colored draft is going to help you create your mask, because let's look at some examples where we can see some really good, strong planning, and then some planning that like wasn't really done. So you can see like on the right side, this mask doesn't have any add-ons. So they didn't do the 5 metaphors. They probably didn't have the colored draft done. They look like they kind of just like built the mask and like painted on top of it. And then on this side, you have like the 5 or more metaphors and add-ons. Like, this is very complicated. Like, she, you know, like she's proud of her mask. She like built onto it, and obviously like came in with a plan. So when you don't come in with a plan for art, it's really hard to get your work done, because you'll just be kind of sitting there like staring at a blank mask, and you'll try and build stuff, and sometimes it doesn't come out because you didn't have like the annotated colored draft that you need to have. So this versus like this. So make sure you do this, because we all want our masks to be really nice and complicated and meaningful and connect back to our promises. Okay. So this is what you're going to be doing for academic prep, but because we don't have, we don't have time to, like, we're not working on this together. We have this matching, step-by-step matching activity on Nearpod, but make sure you watch this entire video all the way through to see like the steps we're gonna take, and then go in and do the step-by-step like matching. So don't start yet. I see, Wilson, you started. Don't do it yet.
Wilson, slow down. So like this Miss just opened a check for understanding, but what we want you to do is we want you to write in the chat like what is happening for the math project. And every time you write in the chat about this video and about what Miss Hibbler is saying, she's going to point out things about tabs and adding on and using extra glue and the importance of using found objects. Guys, anything that Miss Hibbler says, you should write in the chat. So for example, let's see, I know you're really good at writing in the chat. You're phenomenal at it. So you should be writing in the chat a lot, and you should be getting points, because when we leave you and you go into academic prep and then an async time tomorrow, we want you to have a sense of how you're budgeting your time. All right, Miss Hibbler. So again, you're writing in the chat now, you're showing what you're doing, and then you're doing the Nearpod. I just muted you, I'm sorry. I clicked on
mask video. This is day 2, a project overview. Please make sure you click the link for the playlist below so you can see me doing the project in real time and I can do it with you. Okay, don't skip videos, don't skip steps. In this video, I'm going to talk about why it's important to find objects to add onto the mask. I will go through how I built onto the objects, and I built the objects and I constructed them. I will show you how I attached the objects to the mask, and then you will see me covering the mask with a final layer of paper mache to unify everything together. Again, this is like the day 2. You can split these steps up into 2 separate days. You can add your objects and then you can cover your paper mache on a second day. If you want to split this video into 2 separate work sessions, it's totally fine. Okay, make sure that you check out the full playlist and you see all of the first steps. This video is meant to follow after you've built the base layer of your paper mache with 8 layers. So once, don't skip that step.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Miss. Yeah. So if I still haven't done like my promise or my draft or the paper mache, I need to like dial back and do that during academic prep today.
mhm.
I can't just go on and start improvising.
No.
Okay. Do we only like, so Miss Hibbler and I are the only ones who are getting points right now in the chat. So you really need to stop and ask clarifying questions. Like,
I'm Brittany.
oh yeah, Brittany. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah, so you need to do all the steps, and we have office hours today from 2:30 to 3, and tomorrow, even though it's asynchronous, we do have office hours for the hour and 10 minutes from 11:30 to 12:40. So your class time.
I just want to make out the point to all art students. It really helps if you come to office hours informed. So that's why we're posting on the YouTube channel the full lessons. I've started to post because a lot of times kids come to office hours and they have no clue what's going on. So like you need to pay attention, right? Because this is a complicated project.
Yeah. Wilson asked a question. Do you think the Bristol board is strong enough to layer on top of? Do you mean like making like a board, or sorry, making like an add-on with the Bristol board? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like adding it to my mask and then layering on top of it.
Oh, that's an awesome question, because Miss actually does that in the video, and she found that if you make, like, she made floppy ears with the Bristol board, and that, like, when you start layering the wet paper mache on top of that, you can see she kind of struggled with that, right, Miss?
Yeah, totally. I would recommend like hard cardboard. If you have Amazon Prime, go through, grab those Amazon boxes or any sort of cardboard box. Go ask your parents for like paper towel rolls or toilet paper rolls. That's really good. Plastic forks are good. Any sort of garbage that won't rot is good. You know, like you can rinse out like a styrofoam container. Let's say you guys got takeout, and you can use that to like construct things. But yeah, the more sturdy, the better. I think you still could use the Bristol board, the tag board for something. But so far I found the best uses of the tag board are to do your still life project. A lot of you never did that. And to cover the table. But yeah, it can be used, but yeah, it can get a little floppy.
Yeah, so you can see this person already has their colored draft done. And question, everyone answer this yes or no in the chat. Does your end product, like the mask you make, have to look like your colored draft? Do they have to be the same? Awesome, Brittany.
So I know Brittany's right with me, right? Because she's like, she raised no, right? The color draft is a starting point, and that color draft can be messy, right? Like we're looking for thinking and a plan. Like we're not grading you on how neat and beautiful the color draft is. It's just like, do you have a plan going forward about how this relates to your promise?
Yeah. All right, so I'll let the video play.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to talk now about the mask. As you can see, my mask is hard, and I took the time to cut paper, to cut the sides of the mask off. Again, you can hear me talking about this in real time. Then I went around my house and I started to gather paper towel and like toilet paper tubes and paper towel tubes, because they make great
Miss like rolls
additives.
these
Like
up.
the cardboard is really
like to make her horns, you can see Miss like rolls up the paper towel roll. And then she like tapes it down with her masking tape, which you all should have gotten in your supply distribution. And then you'll see like she makes these tabs, because if you try and glue this like horn, this flat part of the horn onto a rounded part of the mask, it's not gonna work, right? So like, let's see. So after she built it, she made it sturdy. She makes it flat, like the bottom is flat. And then she cuts these tabs with these scissors, like she's cutting like 2 centimeters maybe into the bottom of the horn so that she can glue it on like this. So it like starfishes, and then it makes it more flat. So you can.
Whoa, miss, what do you mean tabs? Just in case someone was playing a video game, which they shouldn't be doing. So I do a tab so it will actually stay on the mask?
Yeah.
No.
Let's see.
So you guys know, like, can you write in the chat if you understand yes or no? Like, you want these things to stick on because you're going to add on paper mache. So, like, please explain in the chat that you understand why you need to build little attachments so you can glue and tape it on. And remember, you're covering all the tape. So you could have tape galore to make sure it's the form of your mask. But you're going to, after this, you could go to bed, you could take a break. And then, so I would do this during academic prep today. TBH, do this today, go to bed, and then do paper mache tomorrow for async. Brittany says, how do you cover them? Like mark on them. What do you mean? When we say cover, we mean as you go forward with this video, you're going to say that now, then I make my second batch of paper mache and I add more paper mache on top to unify it. Is that what you're asking, Brittany?
Yeah, okay. So yeah, Miss is creating more add-ons. Oh, and this ear, she creates a tab again on this. So yeah, this was the tag board that Wilson was asking about. This ends up becoming a little bit too floppy. Ooh, you'll also see the can. Bear with us. I know, dangerous. Watch your hands.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. Like, don't cut yourself. So wait, I can use cans? Like, even though I don't have like cans in my supply bag, I can use anything in my house that won't rot, miss?
Yes, yeah, that won't rot. Seriously, don't like go and use a banana peel. It will not end well for you. But yeah, you can see like the tabs on these ears, and she used this as a template and used like this pink Sharpie. So if you're making objects that you want to be the same on like both sides of your mask, you can use one as the template to build the other. So get creative. And this can, she like folds it kind of a little bit on the edges and like widens it out to look like a speakerphone, I imagine, to be like the mouth that's like speaking up.
Miss, you read my mind.
And then she's going in, she's built all of her add-ons. And then now she's going to glue everything down. And she's like preparing the strips of tape before.
Yeah, so to clarify, like, I was kind of giving Letsy some points, like, hey, Letsy, you're going to get a 4 today if you write in the chat a lot, and I haven't heard anything from her. So as a teacher, even when we're in person, I can't get kids to watch videos. Like, they're like looking at their phone and they're playing Minecraft or whatever. The assignment is that you need to look and you need to understand what's happening. And I also want to point out, this isn't the mold, right? This is the base layer that we built back on April 24th or something, right? So it's dry now. We should have our color draft. We should have our plan. We should have our maps, which is our promise. So we know those metaphors we're going to add on. And sure, the plan can change, but now we're adding on. So now we're getting to the fun part. We're building.
Yeah, seriously. Andy
So
was
where
like,
are
yeah,
you?
I'm ready.
So
what's happening? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking over you, but like, why aren't you guys writing in the chat?
I feel like
you need to show us.
we're distracted. But yeah, you can see Miss tried to add like the glue, and the glue wasn't enough, so she's gluing and taping at the same time. Because once you like do this, and then you get the second layer of mache ready, the paper mache and the goop ready, and then like imagine one of these falls off. That's going to be really frustrating because you're going to have to stop everything you're doing and go back and like reattach. So make sure everything that you're doing now is secure in this step.
Example, maybe you want to like open your ears, and that symbolizes like learning. Maybe you want to work on really listening, And I would again build a tab and glue onto the tab. Now you can like make your objects as three-dimensional as possible. You'll see in examples that sometimes students like build hands that kind of like cover the mouth. So you kind of like take your project where you want it to go, but it should be unique to you and how you want to change. Maybe people have silenced you in the past and now you want to speak up. Again, this is the mask that kind of represents a change and a promise within ourselves. Okay, so as I'm continuing to build onto this mask, you can see I'm using long pieces of tape to attach it because I want it to be strong. The more tape, the better. That's why we gave you a whole roll of tape, right? So tape is your friend, tape and glue in combination. When we are present, we would probably use glue guns in the classroom, but for safety, no glue guns, right? So I'm continuing to add on tape, build onto the mask. You can see the entire process kind of like in detail. I even wrap tape around the back. Check for understanding, this is not the mold that I got from school. This entire mask was made from paper mache. I removed the mask from the mold. Okay, moving on, like we're using glue and I'm kind of experimenting. Once again, I'm problem solving. I'm using glue and tape to attach an aluminum can for my mouth because I want to show how important it is to share my voice and speak up. Again, your mask doesn't need to look like mine. Your own mask is your own journey. Your mask is your own promise. But see, I'm taking like giant pieces of tape and I'm really wrapping that tape around the mask. Okay, now I'm going ahead and I'm, you know, experimenting, thinking, because maybe I can use the glue to create tears.
Yes.
That didn't.
I realized we didn't like make the point that you can use a brush to apply glue.
Oh yeah.
Right? So like that's something too to think about, like that you could write in the chat, or like, why are you using a brush to apply glue? The brushes that come with the acrylic paint set, they're kind of like the cheapest ones, and I would recommend using one of those to like apply your glue and glue things on. And then that means if you're using glue and a brush, you need a cup of water right next to you. So you're constantly, especially if you're using, like you're doing that color wheel assignment and you're practicing with acrylic painting, you need to always be putting your brush in water and rinsing it with dish soap.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a point where optional, it's a lot to do in one work session. So you can just build the add-ons and then like tape and glue them on and then take a break or like go to sleep if you finish this part tonight and then work on the paper macheing the next layer on top again tomorrow or like later on in the day if you start this. Like go do other homework and then come back to it. So it doesn't all have to be at once.
And I would, again, open up the deck because Miss Hibbler built a flow map with all the videos. So you go step by step. So you need to read your materials. Think of the deck as a textbook for what you're doing. A book. Read.
Yeah. And now she's like clearing out the area, setting up the workstation. You know, you want to start off with a clean area, and we're doing that second layer of paper mache. So use that leftover flour, 1 cup of flour, 2 cups of water.
For mache, like we did in the first session when we built the base layer, you're going to go ahead, you're going to take 1 cup of white flour, no glue. You don't need the glue. And 2 cups of paper mache. Save the glue for later when you're adding more stuff onto your mask, okay? So you could go ahead, you could see that I'm taking my goop and I'm adding all sorts of different layers.
You can see Miss also has like her whole bag that she already cut up the papers for, the strips of paper. Like she got that back out. If you've run out of paper, you need to go back and cut more of the newsprint paper. Yes, make another batch and add the second layer. Also cut the strips of paper if you need to.
Soaking these strips in.
Okay, so we know Brittany, Chanel, and Wilson are here. And Andy, I think that's all the people who've gotten points so far. And Angel, was that Angel? No, okay. Yeah, where's everyone else? This is a big class. We have like 30 people.
Just saying, once in a while, Mr. Rivera is seamlessly moving into breakout rooms with a few students to kind of like do a check-in. So once again, like, and I do have a few kids private messaging me, and I'm catching some misunderstandings. So I am giving you a 4 if you're asking clarifying questions, even if it's in private message. Okay, so just so you know, miss.
Okay.
Yeah, I do agree. After all those kids that have talked to Mr. Rivera, still we have a lot of non-participants, which is unacceptable.
Not cool, yo, not cool.
Happy Teacher Appreciation Week, by the way, Mr. Rivera. You're a teacher to me.
Gotcha, Miss. And everybody else in this class, I'm just joking, just you, Miss, and Miss Hibla.
You're a teacher.
Right now.
You're a king. You're a king.
And Joshua, you're
Thank you.
Joshua, if you like broke your arm, I think you're exempt from typing.
You know, I broke my dominant arm, and I had to learn how to use my non-dominant one.
Ooh.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, give us a few words.
I just want to say, Javier, I'm sending you in a breakout room with Mr. Rivera. I just want to make sure you understand that the color draft should relate to a promise. So please put your camera on and show that draft to Mr. Rivera. Okay, go on, miss.
Okay.
To the goop and make sure that you take the time to scissor it. I'm seeing very interesting stuff in my class seesaw. Some students aren't pressing down all around on the edges of objects. Right?
Miss, can you pause? I have a question. What are we adding on top there? Right?
Yeah, this is the paper mache, just like you did with the base layer, which you use like this mold for. It's not in the shop, but you use the mold to build the base layer. Then you did the add-ons, the metaphor add-ons. Like you're not just building horns and ears and like this megaphone because you like them. This connects to your sophomore promise and the whole unit that we've been discussing. Nice.
And so that's paper mache. So we put paper mache on top of the junk.
Yes.
To clarify, because I need, yeah, because like people are like, wait, what are we putting? So these are the strips of paper. We did this 2 weeks ago and we built the base, right? So the mask mold is gone. Like I don't need it anymore because my base is hard. So now I add the junk, I go to sleep, I have a good night's sleep, I wake up, and I'm using flour and water. Not the glue, flour and water, 1 cup of flour, 2 cups of water. I made that goopy mixture and I'm dipping the newsprint in, scissoring it, and I'm wrapping it around the junk. I say all of this in the videos, right? So click the videos. Thank you for the clarifying question. Points for you, Anthony.
Everything that you're building out, the mouth, the lips, the nose, the horns. You want to make sure that you're wrapping and making things really, really solid. So continue to add layers. Now this is complicated because you want to make sure everything's unified, everything's covered, it looks interesting, and it still looks like a face. So once again, like you may want to look at your schedule and plan a separate hour where you add the paper mache on top. But I want to do this as one video so you could kind of see like how I build onto the objects and then how I cover the objects with paper mache. But again, you could divide this into 2 separate work sessions. I did it in one. It really depends on your time management and how you're planning your art construction life. The mask and covering all sorts of little pieces. Hopefully you didn't run out of strips of paper, right? That's why on the first day we said, like, the more complex your mask is, the cooler it is. But sometimes, like, see
Can you
how
pause, miss?
ear flaps right here.
So guys, if I was in person, I would have kids like do a fist of 5, like 5, I understand what's happening in the video. 1, I don't. 3, kind of in the middle. So can you guys at least write a 5 in the chat if you understand what's happening? right? So we got like our like superstars like doing the 5 right away. Thank you, Andrea. 4, 5, 3. So now like this is like if you're giving a 3, I'm not going to pressure you, Alberto or Gabriel, but this would be a time for you to ask a question, right? Like, because what is so horrible about this whole distance learning thing is now you got to go do it on your own. And we're not there to hold your hands. I wish I could, but I can't. So
it's fun.
This is Anthony, you're hilarious. But I'm not going to give you an A for being funny. You have to do this, right? So it's like, does anyone have a question? When are we supposed to do this? Okay, so my advice is to add on the junk today, Gabriel, during academic prep, right? And then tomorrow you can do the paper mache layers. If you're behind, you got to go to the end of this deck, dial back and catch up because you need to go forward with a plan, right? But this is like, we're doing this tomorrow on Wednesday. Wednesday is not a day of no school, right? Kids think that it's a day off. It is not. It is a day where you are working on your own and we're available if you need to ask questions. But please make sure you show that you're informed. And so when we come, we're not teaching you the whole unit tomorrow. Like, pay attention. That's what it feels like, huh, Ms. Hibbler, during office hours?
Yeah.
That we're explaining everything for like 2 months in office hours. That's what it feels like. So make sure you're paying attention.
Oh, Melanie asked, can we use clay rather than paper?
My answer is for add-ons, Melanie, or to build the base layer? Because you would need a lot of clay. And it's expensive. I think you're asking for an add-on, and my answer is yes. Like, okay, so that's great, Gabriel. What's an add-on? It's like your mask doesn't look like the face of the mold, right? You're like adding extensions. So Ms. Hibbler, if you can go ahead and real quick point out some of the photos of the masks with extensions. So you are getting points for building out. So see, so we want to see that you, after your base layer, you constructed additional things. So you go to slide 10. So see how complex these are, right? So that is part of the rubric, the project rubric. Kind of what we're doing throughout these weeks is we're also teaching you the rubric and the expectations. So like Gabriel, an add-on would be like the horns or the sun. The flowers you would add later. These little like pokey things, Miss, can you move your cursor over the blue one on the right? Okay, see the little pokey things on the right of that? That was built with forks. I remember this kid. They like took all the plastic forks from my advisory from leftover from potluck and they snapped the forks and they had the forks like on the side of the mask. Right? So that would be an add-on. Gabriel, does that help?
He was asking how many more layers of mache, I think.
So my answer is I would do like enough that it's all unified. So it's kind of complicated to wrap a layer of paper mache around a horn. But my advice is to do maybe like 4 around that horn. You want it to still keep shape. Now those little forks sticking out, that's kind of hard to put paper mache around. They probably just painted that, right? Miss, how many layers of paper mache would you add on top of like an add-on?
Since the mask is like already solid, I think I would like focus on like these like attaching points. I wouldn't want those to be too thin, probably.
Oh, that's a good point. So Miss Hibbler, what you're saying is where it's connected, they should have a lot of paper, because that's another adhesive. That's another way to keep it solid.
Yeah.
Like over the tabs and stuff, you would put a lot. I put some in the back, yeah?
Yeah, like the back too. And like the places like the forehead, maybe like on this one where you aren't adding too much or you want to keep like the nose shape, you don't have to add like layers and layers and layers on there. Like if you're adding a lot to the sides, then you would probably focus more on adding paper mache over there. So maybe like if you were doing like 4 extra layers of mache onto your add-ons in total, you could do like 2 or 3 in the middle, and then like focus more on the outside parts that you're adding onto for the rest. Does that make sense, Gabriel?
Yeah, so Melanie, the answer is like I would do paper mache for the base. I don't know what you mean with aluminum, but yeah, you could use, aluminum and clay. Yeah, you can use a combination of objects in your house. We're not going to be like, points off, you use clay and yet wasn't in the supply bag. No. You're going to get points for being resourceful, right? And like grabbing stuff and being a problem solver. Shoot, this is going to help you in math class. You got like this complicated problem in front of you. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to construct a mask at home that represents how I'm going to change as an individual. Guys, that's like college level stuff, right? So you're going to like face this and problem solve. You can do this. So Miss, are we ready for that Nearpod quiz?
I think so. So the last step was that you took it out. You cleaned up, you took it out to go dry in the sun. So I'm going to do this with you because we did this last class and it was actually really complicated. Like if you get one thing wrong, it's like 20 times.
I will give them a 4 if they unmute and they yell out an answer. How about that?
Yeah, like
See that this is like an interactive Kahoot.
Do we actually have to yell?
No, Josh, you can say it in your clear voice.
Miss, do you have the student version open? Sometimes it doesn't work for me.
I think I was like being a bad student and I didn't.
Good.
I gotta take this call.
Okay, we're good. We're good. It started working. Okay, so we're matching the steps as we saw in the video. Closing that. So let's find step 1. Reading through. Can anyone tell me which one of these goes as step 1?
We have to finish our draft.
Yes, thank you so much, Brittany. So finished, colored, and annotated draft. Check. Step 2. Which one of these is step 2? It's very windy or there's lighting outside of my house.
Set up workspace and cover table.
Yes, thank you, Jesse. Oh, all right. And Joshua, it's either very windy. You can find like a window, like open the curtains or blinds or whatever you have and like set up your mask like in front of a window if it's too busy outside.
I was just saying that in case like I disconnect because of the Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about like drying it in the sun. Okay. No worries. Our lessons are recorded.
But yeah, you want to leave here knowing what you're doing. I'm a little scared. Just to throw out Destiny, Gilberto. Oh, Melanie, I did hear from you today. You were asking questions. Andy Franco. Randy, you wrote here in the chat, but I have no evidence that you understand what you're doing. So show me. Saul, Genesis, Jose, Miguel. Okay, Jacob, stay right here. Andrea, Aureli, Jonathan, Giovanni, and Jesse. I'm giving you extra credit. Way to unmute yourself. Okay, so please like unmute yourself and show us you understand what's happening. And I have a doctor's appointment with my son, but I'll be here and giving points.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much. Gilberto, Chanel, and Anthony. Everyone said for step 3, like gather materials. Awesome. Step 4, is it not make goop? Is it cut more paper? Is it glue and tape? Because remember, I've had a few people say make goop because the goop goes on to the strips of paper that you're using. And that's like the final like layer after you build everything. Build objects. Yes, thank you.
I like how Mr. Rivera is making a face like, what is the next step? Because it's hard.
It is.
It's hard to see. I imagine like this matching to be set up in like rows. So it would have like the numbers on one side and then like the answers on the other. But it was not like that. So I'm sorry if this is messy. So we got step 4, build objects. And by build, we mean like tape, like the horns, if you're building horns or stuff, like cut out, like Miss made those ears and she made the tabs. I kind of told you the next answer.
Happens all the time. Teachers give students the answers. It's like hearing ourselves talk, right, Mr. Rivera?
Let's see, does anyone know what step 5 is? Awesome, Gilberto. Yes, step 4, check.
Glue and tape the objects to into the mask.
I thought it was that too. I know, in the last class, I failed my own quiz. Guys, that was embarrassing. But no, it's actually to create the tabs. And by tabs, remember when, like how you like kind of starfish like the horns on and like attach it, or like you have the tabs on like the sides of the ears. So awesome. Step 6 then.
Yeah, guys, and I just want to reiterate, like, make sure you watch the videos and open the deck when you're working. It's like, don't be in the darkness while you're doing art. Because normally, Mr. Rivera, right, they'd be able to look around, be like, oh, what's Brittany doing? Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Oh, what's Chanel doing? Oh, but you can't. You have no one to look at, right? So it's really important that you watch the videos and you're with us.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone putting everything in the chat. So this is the point. I know it gets frustrating because it's like X mark. Okay, step 7 is that optional thing. I forgot about this step because it's not really a step since it's optional, so it's easy to forget. After you've like attached and glued everything and you're like waiting for the glue to dry and like the tape to like stick everything together, you can go and like do other work, do your other homework, go help your parents or guardians and come back to it, maybe go to sleep if you finish this tonight, and then come back to it the next like day or a few hours later. And then Randy got it. Make the goop. Or sorry, I skipped the step 2. If you need more paper, you have to cut more paper before you make the goop.
You guys aren't doing that bad. We had like 43 tries during period 6.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty well.
Okay. So
you guys who are making frowns on yourself, sorry, miss, your part of your promise should be to love yourself and not be so hard on yourself. I see that with my kids too, my own kids. They like really tear themselves up. And they're like, 8 and 6. They really get down on themselves. Guys, love yourselves. Love yourselves.
Okay. Brittany, awesome. Yes, cover the mask. So we're just like we did for the base layer. Thank you, Randy. After you have your strips of paper set up, because you don't want to run out of paper and then have to go back and like cut more strips of paper. I'm sure you've all like experienced that if you've already built the base layer. So doing the paper mache all over the whole mask again. And then step 11, the only thing left is to dry it in the sun. So awesome, awesome. And by next Friday, this is what your mask should look like. Or sorry, not next, this week. So next class, since tomorrow's asynchronous, you have time to work tonight, tomorrow, and Thursday. And then you're gonna come to class and you'll have this all ready. It'll be drying in the sun. Your mask should have 5 or more metaphors, positive or negative, built on. So thank you, Mr. Jose, Jesse, Gilberto, Brittany, Melanie, Andy, Wilson, Andrea, Chanel, Anthony, Letzi, Joshua, and Aurelie. Nice job. So we're gonna move on. So this is what you're doing for academic prep. We're gonna move on to starting to like we're writing our promises today. So this is going to get you like to start thinking about what your promises like really mean to you. It's really easy, couple more questions on your pod, so stick with it. So we're thinking back to a time that you facing your mistakes, like when was a time that you made a mistake that you still like really like stuck with you? And this could maybe even explain the why behind your promise. So starting to think about that, we have a poll. So these are some mistakes that you might have made, just a very generalized list of things. So it can be a time when you ignored the truth, a time when you stayed silent, when you were a bystander, which means that like we use the word bystander in a situation for bullying or for anything. Like maybe someone said something that you didn't agree with or you thought was wrong and you just didn't say anything. And it's really hard to, and I think that's why people become bystanders. So answer the question, maybe when you didn't try, when you didn't take action, when you yourself were a bully, when you hated yourself or others. And there, I think there was one when you weren't empathetic to other people. That was another one we added. So just pick one that stands out to you that might show you like the why behind your promise. Why are we making this promise and why is it special to you? Okay. Everyone make sure you answer. It's a really easy poll. You're not talking about this? Okay, miss. You're not talking, like you don't have to explain what your mistake was. This is just to help you like start thinking about like why you're making this promise. Maybe your promise is to no longer be a bystander. So a really popular or common one I'm seeing is D. Which one's D? A time when, was it when you didn't try? A time when you did not try. And then another one, a time when you stayed silent. Or when you didn't show empathy. Okay, I'm going to move on to the next slide just for time. So this is a draw and this is going to connect back to your actual promise. So maybe if you circle or if you click like a mistake I made was when I didn't love myself or others, you can click like you can circle to be kind is your promise, to believe in yourself and to love yourself can be like all three of those can be your promise. So I don't want to see anyone circle like all of these because obviously all of these are really good promises, but I want you to focus on a select few that you really want to work on, something that you want to see a change of. And just circle, I'll give you a minute. And then after this, we're going to be writing in our digital notebooks our promise. And we have this template set up. So this can start helping you think of what your promise is if you haven't already written it down. Awesome. Andy circled to love myself, to open my eyes to the truth, to learn from my mistakes and to lift myself up. To speak up, to love myself, to believe in myself, to learn from my mistakes and to lift myself up. To work hard and to be kind. To work hard and to leave the cave, to speak up, talk to others, try new things. Love and believe in myself. Try new things, open my eyes to the truth, and to learn from my mistakes. To speak up, to talk to others, be an upstander, to help others out of the cave. to try new things, work hard to be better every day, open my eyes to the truth, and to make this world brighter and better. Awesome. Okay, so we're gonna go into our digital notebooks, and this is the template that we have. You're writing your final promise on this, so you can go in and like delete these like colored underlined sections, so your final promise, and then how you're going to keep this promise is in green, so you can also delete this and then delete this. So on slide 18, we are period 7. And this is again in alphabetical order. Let me link the digital notebook. All right, so here's your notebook. And this is going to be like your final. This is your final for this class. You are presenting on Friday the 4th of June. You're presenting your slides that you have in here. So make sure you like actually finished all of your work, all of your slides. So yes, awesome. Andy, you needed to like put a photo, even if you didn't do the digital version of the identity box, you still needed to upload a photo in here of your identity boxes. And then this one is your colored draft. At the very end, you have the promise template. So go in and delete the words and put in your own promises. Awesome. I'm seeing a lot of people hopping on here. And these are your slides, so you can like go in and like, because we have art and drama combined, like you can delete these drama ones. Like you don't need this. You don't need this. Make these slides your own because you're going to be presenting them. You can delete this video. So yeah, someone, Destiny, I just like deleted all the drama ones off of your slide. Go in and add your annotated colored draft, add your thinking maps, the circle maps, and the flow maps. And yeah, this is a quiz grade. Fill this in and we can see you working, so take a minute to fill in your promises. And you can see like if you have more than one promise, like they put love myself, help others to learn to love themselves, and to speak up for all of those who can't speak up for themselves. So they have 3 promises in this one sentence, and then they explain how they're going to keep the promise. And that's by choosing positive words of encouragement instead of, maybe the opposite would be like putting people down. And we all need to live a life of supporting one another is the like call to action that this person wrote. So I'm gonna stop share and maybe play some music in the background as you all are writing very quietly. Yes, thank you, Brittany, for asking clarifying questions. You are doing this right now. So right now, work time, you have like 3 minutes, type in your promise into that template under your name. Ooh, also, so we have a lot of people in this class, which means we have a lot of slides in this digital notebook. So if you're struggling to like find your name, say, okay. Okay, say my name is Brittany Spencer and it's like all organized by last names. So I can do Control F and this little bubble will pop up and you can find your name. So Brittany, and hit enter and it'll take you right to your slide. So you're on slide 184. So instead of like scrolling all the way through to the bottom, you can just like Control F and find this. So your promise, you're already there. Yeah, you're already there. All right. Awesome. So points for Brittany. Oh, wow. Andy said it's done. Woohoo. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. And after you're done, it'd be great to like prep for your presentation by like reading your promises out loud. So someone unmute, take it away. Oh, no worries, Anthony. So right now, do you know what we're doing right now? I don't know when we lost you. Also, I see, Anthony, you're on Andy's slide. So make sure you go to your own. So here, so if you're like looking for your name, you can do Control F. I don't know if we lost you there. So let me do Control F, and I'll type in Sante, enter. So your slides, Anthony, oh, you're already on them. Okay. Techie people. So yeah, so right now you're just like deleting what's in here and writing your own promises, how you're going to keep this promise, and like a call to action of what we all need to do. So, or you can unmute and like talk through your promise or where you're at in your promise right now. That would be great. Alberto, where are you? Javier, you start on slide 211. No, it's all the way at the bottom. And Giovanni, you are slide 204.
I'm sorry, everyone. My 3-year-old, almost 3-year-old, has been basically screaming for a month straight, and we're trying to figure out why. Haha, fun. So who am I giving a 3 to, and who am I giving a 4 to? Who's saying their promise out loud?
No one shared yet, but I see Brittany.
Oh, sorry, miss. I turned the volume on. Sorry, I turned the volume down. Start again.
Oh, okay. I know that Andy finished. I know Brittany's working, but no one shared their promise out loud yet.
Ah, we have the teacher left the building and we don't have to do any work issue happening. So Andy Alcazar 4, and I give everyone else a 0. Oh wait, did Andy say it out loud?
He did not.
Okay, so Andy, you get a 3 unless you want to unmute and say it out loud. Oh. All right, guys, this is it. Like, we want you to go into your mask building time with a sense of what your promise is, especially if you need to enhance that color draft. Who is on their slide, miss? Who has found their slide, and did you show them the Control F thing?
Yes. Hold that thought, Anthony. I just want to let you know that you have this, like, these are your slides. Please, like, go in and delete all of this. Like, this is not what you're keeping. You're writing your promise directly in here. So, Anthony, I see you like editing your slide, like where your name was, but you don't have to like make a new slide or anything. You just go in and type it in. Is something wrong with my audio?
Nothing's wrong.
Okay. All right, sorry, Andy, take it away.
So I just read what I wrote. No. Oh no.
Go for it. I can hear you say, "Oh no."
Oh, so it doesn't work. Okay. My final promise is to love myself. Don't be hard on myself because making mistakes is part of life. I will keep this promise by listening to the music, taking time to reflect, understand that we all struggle. We all need to live a life that shows mistakes aren't failure, but progress to success. We shouldn't put one down for something we disagree with or rise them to do better. Thank you. Thank you.
That's
Is Andy gonna be the only one who gives me a teacher appreciation day gift? Mr. Rivera, wouldn't you love it if all of them got on their slides and said their promise
That
now?
would make us so happy. Come on, y'all. Who's out there? Who's brave?
Can I go?
yes.
But my connection is kind of bad.
That's okay. We can still hear you. Mostly.
Move close to the Wi-Fi router, please.
Or Miss, is anyone else on their slide? Did they use Control F to find their slide?
Yes, cause I think it's my computer, cause like I never had Wi-Fi issues, but I need like a better computer.
Okay, so
I'll
can you
go
say
right
your
now.
promise? I can hear you as clear as a beautiful day.
Yes.
Can you say your promise? Okay, I'm giving Chanel 3 points.
Okay, I'm gonna go since nobody's going. Okay, my promise is to love myself, grow as a person, and stand on what I believe in. I will keep this promise by staying true to myself and how I feel. We all need to. It's supposed to be care for each other and ourselves. Self-love is needed, and it's not selfish if you do.
I like how the whole thing connected. Sometimes kids don't change the whole sentence frame. Thank you for that. Thank you for being such a leader. I appreciate it. Anyone else, state your promise. We're setting you up for success by working on this deck now. I know, seriously, wonderful. And then I will give a 3 if you're on your slide and you're typing it now, live.
I'm still scrolling through.
Do we have the link? Did they understand where they're going?
Yes, we have we have 14 people right now.
So Control F, guys. Control F sends you to find. So can you model how to find, let's say, who have we not heard?
Anthony? What was that?
Can I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Alright, so yeah, my final promise is to try way harder and just take everything step by step. And I also promise to try doing more and more work without giving up. So I will learn to love myself and life more. So by doing that, I will fulfill the promise. I will fulfill these promises by putting in the work and appreciate it.
Twinkles! Love it.
But Anthony, is it okay if I copy all of this and move it to this slide? Because this is just where your name goes. So I'm just gonna
And to remind everyone, so this is what on June, what is it, June 2nd, Miss? Or no, it's June 4th? June 4th? On June 4th or June 3rd, whenever your promise is, this is what we are presenting off of, right? So like we waste a lot of time like going in between decks. So if you're kind of like, why am I dealing with a deck where there are 200 slides? It's so when we are doing the promise, we can go fast, right? We can go next one, next one, next one. So that's why like you need to, like part of your async work tomorrow after you build your mask is to clean up your slides because we have some identity boxes that aren't in here.
Yeah. And shout out to Brittany for shouting out Andy. She said, I went because Andy inspired me to go.
Aw, That's so cute. I love it, guys. Nearpod's open, right, Miss, for them to clarify next steps. I know Mr. Rivera has class usually after this if he needs to bounce, so we'll kind of informally close class. But we will hang back if anyone else wants to say their promise out loud or still type their promise. But make sure before you log out, you understand what you need to do. Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Thank you, Ms. Hibbler. Mr., if you want to give them any encouragement about async time, go for it. But guys, don't log out having not done your work.
Yeah, remember we have a work day tomorrow. For those of you who haven't started, tomorrow is the perfect day to begin. I would actually start today after class, let it dry, and then tomorrow you could actually do like a significant amount of work, right? So don't let that day go to waste. With that being said, happy Teacher's Day, Miss.
Oh, happy Teacher Appreciation Day, Mr.
Right on, right on. Well, we'll see you soon, all right? And take care. Please, please, please do your work. Bye.
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. So to clarify, I just have promises from Jesse and Miss Hibbler. Can you post this?
Miss Wilson wants to go.
Oh yeah, Wilson, go. Miss, can you post this for Jesse and his, please? Can you post that for Jesse? That I just put that on his slide. Okay, Wilson, you're on.
My final promise is to learn to love myself and have the self-confidence to be able to speak up for myself, ask questions, and learn from my mistakes. I promise to work harder to achieve my goals and be the best me.
Yeah, I love it. And happy Teacher Appreciation Day. That's such a gift. Who else?
Oh, so pretty.
I like how Jesse's making his slides unique. That's cute. Guys, these are your slides. Take ownership. Anyone else? Who else wrote there so I can give them a 3 at least?
Melanie writing hers.
Okay, Melanie Cruz. Got it. Got it. Who else?
If you're still here and I missed you, please let us know. I missed someone last class and they're like, I did it.
Yours, got it. Anthony? Do you want to say it out loud, Anthony? He did, right? Did he say it out loud?
I think so. I think we gave Anthony and Chanel both points.
Got it. Yeah, I got Chanel. Mm-hmm.
Who was this? This was Jose Duarte.
Got it.
Oh, he's still working on it, I think.
Okay, I'm not gonna get, we're gonna slowly log out in a second. Miss, did anyone write the next steps on Nearpod? Any good points?
I opened it a little late. Do my promise, write my promise on those slides. Aurelia,
but there's so much more to do.
Yeah.
So Miss Hibbler, well, I was on the phone about my son's allergies. Did anyone else, like, should I give any additional points to anyone for participation?
I feel like it was mostly just me talking.
Yeah, like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really sorry about that. Sometimes when master teachers leave, it's like, I know, right? Guys, make sure you are cleaning up your slides tomorrow and like building onto your map.